Hello, and welcome to today's webinar on the Flowmon integration with WhatsUp Gold. We'll share how to leverage Flowmon within WhatsUp Gold to make better, faster decisions for your business, followed by a live Q&A session answering any questions from you, our customers. Today, we are joined by our speakers, Larry and Philip. Larry Goldman is the Senior Manager of Product Marketing for the Progress Application Experience portfolio, which includes WhatsUp Gold and Flowmon. He is an accomplished marketing leader with 20 plus years in enterprise software, SaaS services, and technical B2B marketing for global organizations. Philip Cerny is a product marketing specialist at Progress Software, where he is responsible for the Flowmon product line. With a sales background and 6+ years experience with the Flowmon solution, Philip continues to spread the word about the importance of network security and network traffic visibility for IT operations. I'll now turn it over to Larry to start the presentation. Larry?
Thanks, Rachel. I'd like to welcome everyone to our AMA Ask Me Anything webinar. I know that we have both WhatsUp Gold and Flowmon customers here with us today, and you're likely curious about how the two programs connect and complement one another. We're going to cover that and answer as many of your questions as we can in the time we have. Philip, let's start by addressing the challenges that operation teams face every day.
Excellent. Thank you, Larry. So before we get into the product, I would like to say, what the IT operators go through every day. What is their daily bread? So basically, a complete network coverage is needed because IT operations needs to deal with root cause analysis. They need to be able to troubleshoot any issues quickly, as well as monitor for critical applications. Now, with the big adoption and moving infrastructure to the cloud, you need to monitor your cloud services as well as your on-premise infrastructure. You need to be able to analyze the network traffic and look for hidden threats as well. So we need to ensure that the network security is involved. So essentially for any IT operator, the mean time to repair is basically essential, how quickly you are able to figure out and if there is an issue, where the issue is, and quickly fix it. So basically the complete network coverage is needed to ensure the smooth network operation. And it happens to be that we have a solution stack in the Progress portfolio that is able to help you with that. So for the infrastructure monitoring, we have the solution Progress WhatsUp Gold, which is able to basically provide you the visibility of what's up, what's down, how the network infrastructure is performing. And if you require the deeper level visibility into the network traffic, that would be the Flowmon solution, where we can see who is talking to who, how long, using which protocol, and being able to drill down and troubleshoot the network related issues on a deeper level. And because we have that eyes into the network, as I like to say, we can also basically monitor for network threats hidden into the network traffic using machine learning and artificial intelligence. So that would be the network security piece. So that would be like a short introduction. Larry, why don't you tell us a little bit about the WhatsUp Gold solution?
Great, yeah. So what is WhatsUp Gold? Simply put, WhatsUp Gold monitors the performance of everything connected to the network. Administrators can monitor, measure, resolve network problems, and there's sophisticated alerting and reporting capabilities that make it simple to diagnose faults and find and fix problems fast. WhatsUp Gold has a unique interactive mapping interface, which really stands apart, I think, from most of the solutions that are out there, because it lets you intuitively see up and down availability, performance at a glance, for everything from your servers to routers to your virtual machines to storage devices and so much more. With WhatsUp Gold, the customizable drag and drop dashboards make it easy to see the detailed status and performance of every device, both on-premise and, as Philip was mentioning before, in the cloud. So we'll get to those dashboards in a minute. The key features, there are a number of key features that really make WhatsUp Gold stand out. And we win recognition annually due in part to this robust feature set. The list here covers the key features, including the depth of monitoring, the automated discovery process, interactive topology maps, and the REST API for connecting to other programs. So earlier this year, We released version 2022.0, which included several new features, specifically the integration with Flowmon. And that's really what we're here to talk about. Here you can begin to see how the two products come together inside WhatsUp Gold. Under the Analyze tab, once you've set up the connection, it's as simple as selecting the product and displaying a dashboard or drilling down into network events. But before we get too far along, it's important for WhatsUp Gold users specifically to know what Flowmon does and how the two products work in a complementary fashion. So, Philip, can you help us to understand Flowmon at a high level?
Yes. Yeah, perfectly. So I really like this slide because it nicely captures the whole Flowmon solution and the architecture detail. So if we're going to take it from the top, first, what we need to have the fully functioning Flowmon solution is to have a source of the data. We can leverage it from the number of sources. We can leverage it from the cloud platforms. Actually, with the latest Flowmon 12 release, Flowmon right now is the only vendor on the market who can leverage native flow logs from AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, as well as when needed, we can deploy our own probes. On your on-premise infrastructure, we can leverage IPFix, SFlow, JFlow, and NetStream, any basically standard NetFlow format we can support. In our Progress portfolio, we also have a LoadMaster, Progress Camp LoadMaster load balancer, which is capable of IPFix export data as well. So we can get the source of the data from number of sources. When none of these options are available, we do have a dedicated sensor, which is called Flowmon probes. The added benefit that comes with the Flowmon probe is that we can enrich the flow data with the application information. So you can get the insight into the HTTP, the URL, the host name, and basically have even deeper level of visibility for even more effective troubleshooting. So once we have the source of the data, we then send it to the Flowmon collector. That is the appliance in the middle. And it can be hardware, it can be virtual, and basically it's a storage of the data that is able to visualize you the data that we collect. So the user interface, that would be the network visibility and troubleshooting, pictured on the left side. And the user interface is called Flowmon Monitoring Center. So in here, you can basically see the traffic, who is talking to who is using most of the bandwidth, and do the detailed troubleshooting down to the detailed each flow level. So basically, that is the next level of visibility. And it doesn't stop there. That's a core product. So whenever you have the Flowmon collector, you have the built-in network visibility. And you can actually extend the Flowmon product portfolio by installing the different software modules. So these are these three on the bottom. So the first one, that would be the Flowmon anomaly detection module, which provides the network detection and response. So as I mentioned, that is the network security. So because we have the eyes into the traffic, we see who is talking to who, we can run a number of different algorithms and detection methods to spot any abnormalities and detect threats like unknown threat detection, insider threats, spot any ransomware stages, and even analyze encrypted traffic. The other module, the Flowmon Packet Investigator, that basically allows you to do the on-demand full packet capture. So I would like to quote the Gartner, who states that for the 80% of network-related issues, NetFlow data provides deep enough visibility, which is what we provide with Flowmon Collector. And Gartner states that for the other 20%, you need to have the full packets. We like to take the best of both of these approaches. That's why we developed this module. And we like to say that with our application layer, application enriched data for NetFlow, you can solve up to 90-95% network related issues. And when needed, you can trigger the packet capture only when you require it. And you can actually connect it with the anomaly detection. So whenever there is a specific security threat detected, you can actually trigger the packet capture and have a pcap file available for deeper forensic analysis. And the last module is the application performance monitoring module, the Flowmon APM, which basically allows you a network-centric view into the application. So, for example, the everlasting questions for any IT operator is, if there is a problem, is it a network? Is it a server? Or is it an application? So with the APM module, you can actually find out if the problem is in the application and where, and even if the application is in the database itself. So that would be the short intro into the product. The whole solution is available as a hardware appliance as well as in a virtual. We support all these platforms listed on the right side. And I would just like to point out the benefits. So for the Flowmon network performance monitoring and diagnostics, basically Flowmon provides the single source of truth for network operations and security operations to bring the teams together using one solution. For NetOps, they are mainly interested to have the eyes into the network traffic, see the performance degradation, monitor availability, usage, capacity, and basically reveal any bottlenecks and troubleshoot the issues. For the network operation sides, that is the automatic threat detection that doesn't rely on signatures but leverages the machine learning approach to spot threats hidden in the network traffic. And you can even automate the threat detection with the response piece. So for example, if we detect any anomaly, for example, any station might be infected by a malware, we can instruct the firewall to put the station into the quarantine, for example, so it doesn't have a chance to basically make more harm. So that would be the Flowmon network detection and response piece. And Larry, you mentioned that we will get back to the dashboard in a minute. So I really like this picture because it nicely visualizes the integration between Flowmon and WhatsUp Gold. So to briefly summarize, WhatsUp Gold basically gives you the visibility into the infrastructure monitoring with which active devices are up or down. So that is represented on the bottom left side. So if we think of an hybrid infrastructure, we can see the number of devices that we can monitor. And on the right side, Flowmon comes in. We can then leverage the NetFlow data from the current infrastructure, routers, switches, cloud flow logs, or we can instruct firewalls to put any infected devices into the quarantine and provide the security monitoring like malware detection, anomaly detection, insider threat, ransomware, and many more, all through Flowmon solution. And that is all displayed within the dashboard that are visualized through the WhatsUp Gold user interface. So this would be the whole integration. Larry, why don't you sum up the benefits for us?
Thanks, Philip. So the benefits is I think we've touched on these a number of times already, but it really is that the integration of these two products brings together comprehensive IT infrastructure monitoring along with that network traffic visibility, AI powered traffic analysis, and advanced security features. And these let you, they ensure that you have availability, performance, and security for your entire network through that single, simple, and intuitive WhatsUp Gold interface. The combination of the two delivers convenience, speed, and security. And we talked earlier on the very first slide, Philip, you were talking about how the challenges of the operations teams. And I think one of them that we didn't mention as much is that there is a silo between certain teams, or there can be. And when you have an integration like this, it means that your IT infrastructure, your NetOps, and your SecOps teams can cooperate to identify data leakage, outages, security breaches, or performance degradation because it's in one place and because they're able to communicate about it, they can make better decisions faster and in unison. So IT teams, they can view the network status, the advanced traffic analysis, and security data all in that one interface to speed diagnosis. And the holy grail here is to accelerate the mean time to repair. The next question people are thinking is, well, okay, how would I get to see this? Well, there's lots of different ways. I think the easiest way to do is we have trials that are available on the website. You can download and request and install. We also have online live demos that you can go through. The WhatsUp Gold online demo actually has the integration in it. So you can go in, you can locate a sample Flowmon instance, and then you can begin to play around with those dashboards and drill down in, and you can actually see the convenience of it and the kinds of depth of data that's available. And that's all out there on the website for free. So at this point, it is an Ask Me Anything webinar. I know that there's probably lots of questions and even some very technical questions. So we've brought on some technical specialists. And let's turn it over to the things that you specifically want to know.
Okay, thanks, Larry. So hi, everyone. So with us today from the technical side to answer some of the questions, we've got Carl Holt, who's an Alliance and Network Manager across EMEA and APJ, here from the Flow perspective. We've also got Dimi Karachov and Katrina Believa, who are going to be helping us from the WhatsUp Gold side, answering any commercial technical questions you guys might have. As was said, this is really an Ask Me Anything session, so we're going to get the most out of this. The more questions you guys come up with, the more you want to share with us in the chat, answer as much as we can in this period. So I know we've had a couple come in so far. So taking a look at them, we've got one here. So I already have a Steam solution. How does Flowmon and WhatsUp Gold complement that? And because I already have monitoring in place. So who wants to take this one?
Maybe I should kick on that one. I'll also invite Katrina on this one at the back of this bit. So, but I think to the fact that Steam, it does have some security events in there. What I think Flowmon leverages and also sort of provides is this deeper insight and the ability to drill down further into that event. So rather than just have a blanket statement that we've seen something, we know it exists. And the beauty of Flowmon is that ability to get further into the detail, go into the protocol, the user level detail, look at things like URLs. So there's further augmentation in the Flowmon solution that comes into play. What it also provides is this ability to do some root cause analysis as well. So in the event that some condition has occurred within the network, we've seen an event triggered, and there is some intelligence in the responses to be able to give you those insights to say, hey, go and look in this particular bucket or in this particular field of expertise. So it's not just the fact that we've detected something, we're also providing that next level of where do I go and fix this? How do I go and fix this in conjunction with whatever it is that we've seen? So, and hand in hand, there are certain crossover points, and being truthfully honest here, there's features within both that come into play in part. But we're not doing the same job as a traditional SIEM, or SIEM or some form of event monitoring and logging solution would do. So, Katrina, is there anything else you wanted to add there?
No, I think pretty much that's the summary. Really, if we go with comparison, if WhatsUp Gold can give you an information of what is working and what is not in terms of network equipment, then Flowmon adds the value to tell you who is doing what exactly. So the two products give really a complete visibility within a network, even if environment is really complex as the today network. So you have your servers, you have your virtual machines, and also, as in the webinar was mentioned, all the cloud providers. So with Flowmon, we are able, not only WhatsUp Gold will tell you which services are up and running, but Flowmon will give you an information about really what is going on within a network.
Yeah, and that's from a security and a performance point of view as well, because we can leverage the security module, which is the ADS system, which is anomaly detection. So we're looking for those threats within the network, but also then we're able to pull back additional detail using our network performance monitoring and application performance monitoring that Larry and Philip spoke about briefly. And so that the enriched telemetry that we gain from the network gives us that augmentation, but as deeper insights rather than just what is what is online, what is offline, what is otherwise. Rory, back to you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Katrina. Taking a look through, had a couple of ones come in about compliance here, so just kind of summarize them up. how does Flowmon WhatsUp Gold sort of help companies maintain compliance with new regulations such as NIS2 and DORA?
Okay, so when it comes to compliance, essentially it's a set of rules or guidelines that enterprises and organizations have to abide by and be able to prove in some way, shape or form that they can maintain that compliance. So it is a minefield across the globe, and those initiatives that are set out across the globe have different standards, different checklists of entities. So what I will say is around things like NIS2 and DORA, and across UK and EMEA, we're seeing more and more organisations and these initiatives making personnel personally accountable for the the integrity of whatever it is that we're protecting, which is ultimately the data here. So when it comes to things like the MITRE attack framework as well, being able to predict what is in flight, what is in play within the network, we can see how far down the attack chain these bad actors have gotten, but also then to the point where we use those points in time where we can prove what that bad actor has done, which parts of the network they've touched, and what data they've accessed. Couple that with other solutions that are out there that also look at file level detail. And for admins and for those guys that are looking after this solution on the ground, without that visibility and without that leverageability to say, and here's what has happened within my network, it becomes very, very difficult to comply with things like NIS2. So these sort of initiatives with what we have inside Flowmon, because it provides that visibility, the reporting, and the integrity to be able to show where those perpetrators have been within the network, it allows us to make sure that from a governance point of view as well as a compliance perspective that we can abide by those rules, but also prove from the evidence that you can gain from these reports inside Flowmon that we are compliant. Katrina, again, anything for you to add there on the WhatsUp Gold side?
No, that's I think that this is the complete answer. I think it will confuse.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks.
Rory, back to you again.
Thanks, guys. I had another question come in here saying, does Flowmon integrate or complement any other devices other than WhatsUp Gold?
So yeah, from an integration point of view, it all depends on what level and what depth of integration you're expecting from this. So there's a common API under the hood in the throes of all of this. And to Philip's point earlier on in the session, when he was talking about automating the responses, that automation can be something as simple and as rudimentary as a text message, an email, or something that kicks off a chain of events. But the problem that you tend to have in this sort of world of alerting and everything else is if something sees that threat or if something detects that threat, and if there is no automation off the back of that threat being detected or that incident occurring, what's the upfront point of having that solution in place? So to make sure that that automation is capable of doing something and going and making a decision or enabling another device to make that decision is the key thing here. So it could be an API that's called to be able to do or instruct a firewall or another device to quarantine a device, for example. So, or in other terms, it may be we've got other integrations with things like Superna, as an example, in the Dell world, where there's an API that's kicked off that starts a lockdown process. It causes a snapshot of active data within an environment. It also prevents some form of replication to a third party or an offsite vault. So there's lots of chains of events that we can help to define and augment through the visuals that Flowmon provides. So as long as the devices that we're talking to follow the standards that we operate at through the API and through those typical sort of command line type scenarios, then there's no reason why we can't integrate. We do also have close other integrations with other vendors that you can find details of on our website. So there's quite a raft of third-party organizations in the software space that we will interoperate with and help to ensure that once we do detect something, then there's a course of action taken as a result.
Okay, great. Had another one come in asking around automation at the moment. So can we leverage these solutions to automate responses? And if so, how?
I think that goes back to partly what I've just mentioned on the API, Rory. So if if there is a decision to be made and you want to repeat that decision each time this event is detected, then ultimately it would be the API that could be used for this type of activity. And again, whether that's asking a firewall to create a rule or removing a device, removing a user from accessing those parts of the network, or even down to the data level, there's other areas of interoperability around the network that would also be able to make that decision as well. So to my point around things like things like Superna the example around Superna again, if we detect a threat, Superna then does the lockout process, but it also prevents authorized access to those files. So it could be an infected device that is harboring some malware from a trusted user. They have a zero trust policy going on, and all of a sudden there's an influx of files and activity, a hive of activity at the data level, and they're encrypting those files at strength, at length, and all of a sudden, the other tooling that's beyond what our not so much the capability, but beyond what we are there to do. We've incited the fact that we've seen the threats, we've alerted the other applications to that threat, then the process of lockdown, lockout, and privilege removal can then occur. And again, yeah, absolutely automated all through API economies there.
Thanks, Carl. I think obviously touching on encrypted traffic there, so I apologize this got answered a bit in the previous questions, but if Flowmon is provided with certificate encryption key, is it able to then see into the encrypted traffic?
In part, no. I mean, from an encryption point of view, we can leverage certain detail from some of the the encrypted flows, but what we're not going to do is to inspect the payload. There's no there's no methodology for that, and we wouldn't be we wouldn't be party to that level of detail. So you can use things like Wireshark to import the certificates and gain access to that detail should you want it, but it's not something as a standard that Flowmon would provide because of the integrity of the payload and the governance around it. So we're not one for snooping on that traffic. So, but we can provide the other metrics around performance and everything else around the typical sort of web type traffic that we would monitor. So that could be things like round trip times, response times, URLs, that sort of stuff, but absolutely not from a payload perspective.
Got a more work-related question here. So from Katrina Dimmy, can I monitor other things like availability configurations with WhatsUp Gold?
Yep, sure. It's not just a monitoring tool for availability or for ups and downs and services. WhatsUp Gold can also leverage to monitor configurations, to integrate log monitoring, and this is also a tool that can act as a backup server for the entire network configuration. So it can not only monitor links and statuses, but it can monitor configuration changes. So from that perspective, it is totally possible to act as a backup server and to run tasks, to automate tasks, not only notifications, but to trigger tasks. Thank you.
Thanks, Rina. Have one here around licensing. So how is WhatsUp Gold licensed per monitor or per device? And similar question for Flowmon. So, Dimi, do you want to jump on this?
Yeah, great question. Actually, it's we do license per device, which means that, for example, if we take, let's say, 48 port switch, and the customer would like to apply, let's say, 100 monitors, actually we are going to consider that just as one license because it's just one device, and this is really good benefit for the customers because they can apply as many monitors as they wish on a particular device, and it will be counted just as one license, and it's really easy to scale up. And this gives you the ability to get all the monitors that you would like to apply within particular devices. Thank you.
Thanks, Demi. So on, in terms of licensing on the Flowmon solution, we have probes and collectors that you saw on the architectural diagram from Philip and Larry earlier. But so individually, the probes and collectors are licensed as an entity. We also then have the modules. So depending upon which modules are selected, so things like the Flowmon Packet Investigator, the ADS module, NPMD, and APM modules are all licensable individually across the solution. The other thing to note is the way that the probes and collectors process traffic. That's down to bandwidth, it's down to data retention, and it's also down to flow processing. So what you will see on the probe side of things is different variant sizes, whether that's a physical or a virtual appliance, and those different sizes will look at the number of monitoring ports, so physically or virtually on the device. It will also look at the bandwidth that is allocated to those monitoring ports, and the higher up the stack we go, and the bigger the capacity on those. And again, for things like data retention, it also has a capacity for things like flow log retention. So if you want to keep that detail for a longer period of time, then you may need to purchase larger appliances to suit that retention period. So when you're looking at these sort of things from a sizing perspective, there are a few things to consider. It would be the number of networks or number of sites that we want to monitor, whether that's on premises or in cloud, different licenses to suit, and then what that retention period needs to be, along with what modules you would like to be enabled across the solution. So Rory, back to you.
Brilliant. Cheers, guys, for answering that. Just taking a look through, so you've got any more questions coming in at the moment. Doesn't seem to be any new questions popping up at this point. So I think I have got through anything. But guys, I hope everyone has found it to be a useful session. Feel free, obviously, details to be shared with everybody after this around contact details for myself, Carl, Dimitrinos. So feel free to reach out anytime for it. There will also be a recording of this available on demand for people to watch at this point and share internally if you think it'd be of use for anyone else. I guess as we're closing out, does anyone else want to add anything quickly? No, okay, brilliant. Well, look, thanks for joining us all today. As I said, hope you guys found this useful and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks all.